Look, to me, the Jack Smith report underscores the crowning failure of the Biden administration, the failure to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States from the greatest threat it faces, the threat from Trump, from the right, from an organized effort to undermine our democracy, from a threat that we saw on the television from the riots, the violence, the obstruction of justice, the effort to pervert justice in state after state after state. Trump deserves blame. MAGA deserves blame. But we knew that this was the big threat we faced 4 years ago, and we did not rise to that threat. And you can't simply write that off to, our broken system. The system is made up of people. And as we can see from the way Trump and people around Trump have behaved, that system can be shaped by the people within it in any way they want, both consistent with the past and inconsistent with the past. From the moment that institutionalist Joe Biden picked institutionalist Federalist Society member Merrick Garland, the wheels of justice in our system slowed and the scales of justice in our system tipped in favor of the powerful. Trump got away with the greatest crime ever perpetrated by an official of the federal government in the United States of America. And on that list, I include spies and traitors from 250 years ago to now. But worse than that, Trump was positioned to return to office and to continue to damage our system. When you listen to the Hegseth and Gabbard and Kash Patel and RFK Jr. hearings this week, and you're outraged that those people are possible as senior public officials of the United States. Incompetent people, people who have tendencies to support foreign adversaries, people who have sworn loyalty to Trump above loyalty to the Constitution. You have to trace this back to our failure to hold Trump accountable for the crimes of 2017. When you see innocent Americans or innocent undocumented visitors to this country who are contributing to our communities rounded up in the street over the next several months, or when you see people being weeded out of jobs of public service in our government because they didn't pass a loyalty test to one man, Trump, or when you see SCOTUS, or when you see other elements of the United States government carving away at our democratic protections, you have to trace it back to the failure to hold Trump accountable. And you have to recognize that a part of that failure, beyond just the crimes of Trump and those around him, which must be acknowledged as the first cause of all of this, is the weakness and indecision of Biden and the people around him. It is the same weakness and indecision that led him to capitulate to our so-called historical ally Israel when it was committing war crimes in Gaza. And that is a Biden impulse, an impulse of senior people in our system to go along with the system in Washington, to value the culture in Washington of going along and getting along, of yesterday Chuck Schumer referring to John Thune as his good friend, to this sort of emergence of this group of Vichy Democrats who are going to do whatever they can to make things a little bit easier this time around, that has led us to this point where a crime we all saw on television in front of our eyes, or we heard recordings of when Trump called up the Georgia Secretary of State and said, steal these votes. A crime that we know happened was not only unprosecuted, um, but it was submerged to an alternative narrative that was not counteracted effectively by the people who wanted to defend our system. I don't think Jack Smith prosecuted this in the way that he should have. I don't think Merrick Garland prosecuted this in the way that he should have. I know they have many defenders. I know this will piss off a lot of people. But we got here for a reason. And the reason is not just, oh, the American people are gullible. The reason is Washington has built in antibodies that protect the powerful and preserve the status quo against strong action. And this is what has been taken advantage of. It has been taken advantage of by Mitch McConnell when he rammed through Supreme Court justices in a way Democrats would never have done. And Democrats were, oh my God, I can't believe he did it. But he did it. And it stole the Supreme Court. And it rammed through Trumpian attacks on our system to the point that they are now being ratified by the Supreme Court, but also by the electorate because they weren't challenged. And it's great that this report has come out, and it's great that it is absolutely clear in its conclusions. And we knew it because we saw it. We knew it, and there were other crimes too. We haven't seen the report on his violation of national security by stealing classified documents. Another slam dunk conviction. Why was that case prosecuted in Florida? Why was there not the attention to that case that the reality winners and others who have committed crimes like this have gotten in the past? Ask yourself what's broken in our system. And then as more becomes broken, recognize the proximate cause of the additional crimes, of the additional damage. Dates back to 2020, the effort to steal the election, to January 6th, to the post-January 6th efforts, but also to the failure to recognize those crimes and prosecute them. It is the signature failure of the Biden administration, and it is not one that they will ever recover from in the eyes of history.